All right, guys. So for this week's lesson, we are going to be bisecting segments and angles. Bisecting means you're going to be given an angle or like a segment, and you're going to take that segment, you're going to cut it in half using a compass. And so same thing with an angle. So here is a segment. Here's an example of an angle, and we're going to take these angles and segments, and we're going to construct what they call a bisector, which means it's going to take the segment and angle and split it into two even parts. Okay, so we'll do the segment first. So for a segment, you're going to be given a segment, and it's going to say bisect whatever segment. This segment that we're given is called CD, and so once I bisect it, I'm gonna label the middle point segment M. Okay, so the midpoint is the middle point of the line. So what I don't want you guys to do is just put a dot in the middle and just say that's your midpoint. You have to do that through bisecting. So here you have a segment CD. You have your compass. What you do is you want to put the sharp point on one of the ends. I'm going to put the sharp point on C. You want to make sure you open your compass, that it's more than halfway between C all the way to D. So if you look at right now, it looks like it's probably close to half or whatnot. And so I want to make sure I'm way more than half. So I'm going to open it a little bigger. I'm going to make sure I'm going to go that far, maybe 2/3 or 3/4 of the way. There's no particular distance, but you want to be more than halfway, because if you don't go more than halfway, when you do your two arcs, they won't intersect to create your bisector. So here you can clearly see that I went more than halfway between C and D. So I'm going to take the sharp point, I'm going to put it on point C, and I'm going to create half a circle like this. Okay. Point C. Okay. So here I have a half a circle from point C. That's all I did. I'm going to do the same thing. Now I'm going to take the sharp point, go to the opposite end point of point D now, do not change the distance, and do also a half a circle. Okay, same thing. Okay, so here you see I have an arc coming from point C. I have another arc coming from point D. If you don't go more than halfway, what happens, these two arcs, they don't crisscross, and that's what you want. You want them to crisscross like how we have here. So when they crisscross, you have a point here. I'll call this point A. Okay. You have a point below where they intersect, that's point B. And what you need to do now is connect point A with point B. Point A, to use a straight edge. And draw a line connecting point A and point C. So basically, this red line, which is the AB, it bisects CD. So you can tell. So they want us to label the midpoint M. So right here, where my bisector crosses my segment CD, that will be called point M, because that's what they want us to label. So that means AB cuts CD in half. So the distance from C to M is the same distance from M to D. That's why it's called bisector. A bisector means it takes the segment, cuts it to equal parts. Okay, and so that's what you're going to be doing with your segment. So if you're not sure, again, just watch the video over and over until you get the steps step by step. Next part, we're going to move on to the angle. For angle, you're going to be given a random angle again. So your angle could be a obtuse, it could be acute, it could be a right angle, or it could, so it could be one of those three angles. But for me, I'm going to show you guys this is an acute angle. Acute angle is less than 90, but you will get ones that are larger than 90 or even 90, but the steps is still the same process. So that means we're going to take this angle and we're going to draw a line that will cut the angle into two equal parts. So here's angle J. So first thing you do is you take your compass again, okay? You're going to put the sharp point on J and you're going to create an arc again. When you create this arc, try to stay in, there's really no particular distance. You don't have to go more than halfway compared to a segment. For me, I put my sharp sharp end on J, and I could just create arc. Okay, so there's no particular distance how far out you have to go. You can go really far if you want, but the further out you go, the further out you're going to intersect. So I like to kind of go like maybe towards the middle, halfway, or even a little less than halfway. So again, there is no particular distance how far out you want to go to your sides. You do the same thing. You create an arc, like a half circle, like how we did the segment. So after you create an arc, remember your sharp point needs to be on point J to create this arc. It's up to you how far you want to go out. There's no particular distance. Once you create the arc, make sure when you create that arc, it crosses both of the sides of your angle. So here, my arc crosses this, my left side of my angle. I'm going to call that K. Okay. And I'm going to call this below, because it crosses your other side of your angle. I'll call JK, and then I'll call this L. Okay. Now this is the last step, which is the critical step. Okay. So now the last part is you want to take your compass and you want to open it up so that it's the distance between J to K. And I'll show you what you do with that afterwards. So the sharp point at L. I'm sorry. Let me take that back. From K to L, not from J to K. So you want to take your compass, open up distance from L to K. If it's most of the time, you might have to manipulate it. You might have to open it up to make it it's the same distance. Sometimes it might be close, so you might have to close it. Whatever the distance is, you want to take the sharp point, put it on L, open it up so that your pencil part is a distance to K. That's not quite there yet. Okay, so that's pretty close. Okay, so once you have your compass open up so it's the distance between K to L, then what you want to do is leave the sharp point at L. You're going to create arc inside of your angle, like this. Okay. Okay, just like that, on the inside. So once you create that distance, create arc inside. Then you take that same distance, now you're going to go to point K and do the same thing, an arc inside of it. Now I'm going to have to turn the paper around, so hopefully you guys can see. So point K, is my sharp point is now, I'm going to move to K. And then I'm going to create also an arc inside of the circle from point L, from that same distance from K to L. Okay. Once you do that, you'll get an intersection to the right, or usually in between, and it'll look like a palm tree kind of. That's kind of how I look at it. So it'll look like an intersection like this. And I'll call this JKL. We'll call this what? M. Okay. And so all you do now, the last step is take J and connect it to M. And so that red line that we just created, that's what we call a line segment. So what that means is what happens, I ended up cutting angle J and making it two smaller angles which are equivalent. So in other words, what we have now is angle K, J, M is congruent to angle L, J, M. So I ended up creating two small angles, which is congruent. So that's what you're going to be doing this week. You're going to be taking a segment or an angle, and you're going to cut it into two smaller halves of whatever angle segment that you're given. So good luck again. Just if you need to, just re-watch the video over multiple times, follow step by step, and then that's your assignment for this week. Good luck. Have a good one.